It is Friday, January 15th, 2016. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan. Nick is here, and we have a special guest, someone who is returning again, like we had with Lexi earlier this year. But yes, we have a special guest again, and I'm gonna let him say hi before we even bother worrying about saying hi to Nick, because who cares about Nick? So, hi, special guest. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Nick doubled my pay to be on the show.
But
now
we
I
didn't.
make 4 zeros instead of 2 zeros.
I was gonna say.
See, that's the power of accounting right there. It's a wonderful thing. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna triple your pay.
Awesome.
6
Let's
zeros
triple
now.
zero is yes.
But yes,
so,
we
I'm
have.
Joshua Gandamu, and I'm very glad to be here again.
I was just about to announce who you are for those, for those people, who don't know who you are. Which is, I don't know how anyone doesn't know you. You're probably, one of the better and more well-known toy reviewers on YouTube, other than maybe Optibotimus, maybe.
Thanks.
And you definitely have some
What
cooler
we're
reviews.
saying is that we like you and we want you to come on the show more often.
Yes.
Well, it's pretty fun to be on. I enjoy it.
And for our audience who is not aware, we actually have a different setup. So now he can be on here more often if he wants to. Yay!
Woo! I even came up with my own Bluetooth device. I got one of these cool little robot hats with the tie thing and, like all those other hats with the face on the top. And then just shoved the cordless phone up into the ear area and tied it. Yeah, Bluetooth device. This is awesome.
Nifty.
I can
Behold the
webcast
power of science.
through the phone and do stuff.
I think at one point in time there was a thing you could buy that was like a little. It was essentially a hairband, like one of those springy plastic ones that would just clamp onto your head, and it had an attachment for your phone, so you could just stick your phone to it. And while I think the robot ear thing is better, I would really like to see someone walking around with a giant, cell phone clipped to their head, because that would just be.
That'd be pretty funny.
It would. It'd be interesting to see. And
I had a Bluetooth device somewhere, but I never used it, and so it got lost in a box somewhere. And there it stays. It's still there to this day, wherever that box is.
See, I'm old school and I like everything wired. And like, I could imagine myself walking around with wires going everywhere.
Less radiation that way.
it's actually more fun because that way when you get angry, you can actually, like, it used to be when you got really, really angry, you could just rip the phone out of the wall and the wires would come with it, and you'd have to sit there and yank on the wires for 5 or 10 minutes. And now you can't do that because you never would have had a cell phone. So, like, Nick, you have an advantage over the rest of us whenever you hulk out over a telemarketer calling you. You can just go, ah! And just grab the phone and start yanking, and then the wire snaps, and then you look at it, and you get that satisfactory rush of it, just that moment where you realize, they can't call me anymore.
Not only that, but I can slam things down. Like, I can slam the phone down. That is probably the greatest crime of smartphones and cell phones. You can't slam them.
I actually there are times, and I really, really, really hate to admit this, but there are times that I have actually hung up intentionally on people using a smartphone, or any cell phone for that matter, and I get a phone call back, they're like, did you just hang up on me? No. Well, then why did I hear? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know at all.
I like the best with the telemarketers. The problem is they're mostly robots nowadays, and they have no sense of humor.
Yeah. Although I keep getting an offer to take a Caribbean cruise somewhere. And it's a real person, and they talk to you for a long time. And they refuse to take no for an answer for, like, about 15 minutes.
The trick is to get really good at changing the subject. and you see it as a challenge.
I just usually like to entertain their calls and just wait for them to ask me finally if I'm actually interested in the offer. And then I'm just like, no, I'm good.
I like to call when they promise me things that don't make any sense, like, Mr.
Well,
Ruckle, you've been pre-approved for a better credit on your credit card. You should do it now because this is a limited time offer. Press 1 to find out or miss your chance forever. Well, I don't have a credit card, so I press 1. And I tell them I want better credit on my credit card and that they said they could do it and I would like to see it. And so they ask me, do I have a Visa card? And I go, no. Do you have a MasterCard? No. What do you have? I got a debit card from my bank. And I said, but you guys said on the phone, you said that you could do it. You told me that I had a limited time offer to do this. I'd like to call them out on dishonest advertising.
The worst thing to me was when someone from the Navy was trying to recruit me. And I felt so bad because I was actually trying to stop him to tell him that I'm disabled, so I can't join the Navy, sadly. He just kept going though. I was like, that's great, yeah, but yeah,
I'm gonna get a medical discharge in like 3 days. Not because I choose to, but because you're gonna go, this guy can't do
it. I felt so bad for him because he spent like 20 to 30 minutes just on the phone with me trying to tell me about how amazing the Navy was and how much they want me. And I was like, yeah, that's great, but I literally can't. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It might really be cool. It actually sounds kind of neat, but can't.
And then he sounded so sad at the end too. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I felt so bad for him.
I actually felt bad for the telemarketer that I messed with. There's been a couple times I've gotten telemarketers really good. Uh, the best one to me was this woman, young woman, kept calling me every day, and I'm like, no, not interested. Click, And finally, I was like, look, I realize you're in Canada. And I don't know why you're calling me. I'm in the United States. I don't know why you're calling because because this is about the 18th time she'd called. And I said, look, if you want my email address, because she wanted my email. I don't know why. Usually, they want your phone number and stuff like that, but she wanted my email address. I'm like, look, I'll give you my email address, but you have to email me personally. And she did, and it was kind of awesome. And she was actually really pretty. I have no idea what happened to her because I've kind of lost contact with her over the years. But anyway, the second best time was one who called every day. It was at 10:59 a.m. every day, whether we're home or not. They call it every day, and I finally got tired of it, so I was blaring like really loud death metal in the back of the house, and I had the door closed, and I looked at the phone, and I was like 3, 2, 1, ring, picked it up, and they were like, "Hi, we did it." I'm like, "Hang on 1 second." I walked all the way to the back of the house, opened the door to the room that I had the music blaring in, and I'm like, "Turn it down! Turn it down right now!" And I get back on the phone. I'm like, "I'm sorry. The children were blaring music. Are you okay?" Okay, that's fine. But the greatest time I have ever told a telemarketer was a woman who called from a siding place and wanted to know if they could put aluminum siding on my house. And I said, yes, but I have a question. And she says, what's that? And I said, will aluminum siding attach to cardboard? And this woman goes, yes, actually it will. I said, okay,
temporarily,
because I have
a
large, I have a large cardboard house. And she goes, your house is cardboard. And I said, yes, ma'am.
I would like to actually do that now. I want to see if they can actually put it on a cardboard house.
This is true. I've been to his house, but he did a really nice job with it. He colored the walls different colors in crayon, and there's newspaper to cover up the holes, and It's not too bad.
She tried, like, this
It's
woman
It's
tried.
freezy in the winter.
I felt so bad. She tried so hard. I was like, look, she said, why do you have a cardboard house? And I said, because it's easy to make additions. And I have, and I have a nice garage. And she's like, how do you heat it? And I'm like, I have a fireplace. You have a fireplace? I said, yes, I have a fireplace. The problem is the fire department knows where I live right now, but it's fine because it's easy to rebuild my house. It's so easy. And she's like, how big is it? And I said, well, I would have to actually get out and measure it, but but I really want to know if you can put the sign. And she's like, how the hell are you on the phone with me right now? And I said, because I have a phone line.
I think she needs to learn what trolling is.
That's really funny.
I
always try and be nice, but I try and like legitimately point out things that they're offering that they shouldn't be offering because they can't actually do it, or try and get them off subject. It's a game, So what's the weather like where you're at? Well, it's blue. And so anyways, about this, one time I tried to sell them into my business. I was like, invest in my eBay store, because they wanted me to invest in oil. And I was like, no, I'm going to try and pitch them me.
It really can't hurt, like for you, your free eBay store, it really doesn't hurt you at all to do that. But it's like they try so hard, they really do, and I genuinely feel bad for a lot of telemarketers sometimes. It's like especially the ones that call every day and they have to keep you on the phone for like a minute and a half or whatever it is because they have a quota. And if they don't get a paycheck. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I realize, you're calling from a phone bank. I can hear the 957 other people in the room with you right now,
Yeah.
all jabbering away. Sure, I'll be nice enough to keep you on the phone long enough for you to get credit. I'm not going to buy what you're selling me. I'm sorry I'm not going to, but I will definitely keep you on the phone. And then
I get annoyed when they don't talk to me, though. Like, I get these calls, and then no one talks. See, I'm at home by myself. Well, my wife isn't home. So it gets kind of lonely. And, it's like, well, I'll at least have someone to talk to. And then they just, hello? And they hang up. And I'm like, hey. I call them back and say, hey, you hung up.
They don't like
Whenever I
call them.
try to call, sometimes I try to call them back, but it tells me the number can't be complete, or the number dialed can't be completed. And I'm like, oh, how am I supposed to buy whatever you're trying to sell?
Exactly. There was one. It was the same company, but they called from about 6 different numbers in Indiana and Ohio and Nevada and Texas and different. I mean, always telling the same thing every time, and they would always say, "Here, call me back his number," and I would dial back, and I would get some random person in India. Now, the person who was actually calling was clearly not Indian, or they were at least very, very good at hiding it. So I would call back, this normal conversation with someone who sounds like they're from the Midwest, and would leave a voicemail or whatever. And I would call back, try and say, hey, I don't want to be on your calling list, and this is about to be the worst impression ever. You can call me a racist if you want to, but I would get back with, hello, how old are you? And I'm like, excuse me, I just talked to someone in Ohio. Yes, I am in Ohio. Are you sure? Yes. What's the weather like in Ohio right now? Well, it is 97 and it's warm. No. It's raining in Ohio right now. Like the whole state's flooded. Oh, well, I am sorry. And I'm like, no, stop. Just stop calling me. Can I speak to your supervisor? Supervisor? Yes, supervisor. Your boss. They'd give me the phone to somebody, and it was clearly, the person next to them. They're like, you can hear them, but like, hand the phone over. And I'm like, oh, okay. Stop calling me. Call you tomorrow. No, stop calling me. And finally, it took 5 or 6 callbacks of me saying that, and they stopped. Uh, and I kind of felt bad. I really did. I was like, these people are trying very, 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 very hard. It's almost like, and this is not an example I should probably want to, or comparison I should make, but it's almost like trying as hard as the Republican candidates were last night in the debate.
I I didn't even bother to watch because I knew it would be the same old thing again. And
It
according to people, it was.
it actually was. It really was. And see, like, here's the thing. I still consider myself a Republican. So ideally, I should want to vote for one of these like 14 people. I should want to.
I honestly don't know why anymore.
I don't know. I mean, it's not that I can't find some ground that I agree. Like, for example, Rand Paul, he was on, and Brandon, I don't know if you keep up with this or not, but Rand Paul was on the Daily Show the other night, and Trevor Noah wanted to have a singles night debate with him, because Rand Paul was first told that he was not going to qualify for the debate, and then he literally and figuratively flipped off the Republican Party and Fox News, uh, and saying, "I'm going to boycott your debate instead." But anyway, he was on the Daily Show, and Trevor Noah had a podium for him and everything, but it turns around and it's actually not a podium as much as it is an alcohol bar with like 10 bottles of whiskey in there. And Trevor takes out one of the bottles and he says, "I have what I call issues bottles. This one is the Middle East. And what I'm going to do is every time you lie to me about a question that I ask you, I'm going to take a shot." And so he pours, about half the glass. And Rand Paul looks at him and he goes, "You know what? I think I'm going to have to take a shot too." And I was like, why is this man not the front runner? Why? I would vote for that man.
That is pretty entertaining.
I mean, like, I have compared Rand Paul to Wile E. Coyote, just leaning up against his podium, looking cool, and holding up a sign that says, "My dad says, dot, dot, dot." I would vote for him. I actually would. It's not like he's.
I would consider him more if he was more like his dad was.
He is. He is like his dad, but he's
So,
kind of out there a little ways.
yeah, there are just some things where he just says some things, and I'm like, what? Like, really?
It seems to be a major problem with Republican candidates these days. Like, this guy sounds pretty good. You're not a complete idiot. Oh my goodness, what did he just say?
Like last night, apparently during the children's debate, Mike
I mean,
Huckabee.
of all the Republican candidates, the only ones that I would even vaguely consider right now are probably Rubio and Paul, but they still just say things that are just so aggravating and just it just sets you off so much that it's
It
like,
does.
how can I vote for you?
They had during and I'm sorry, Fox, but this is the greatest thing I've ever said. The children's table debate, which is what they call the people who are not going to be president and they need to quit right now. Which Carly Fiorina has actually dropped. Like the last time it was Chris Christie, but now it's Carly and she's dropped down. I'm like, oh, I kind of like hearing what a woman who wants to be the first female president and stands so firmly on her, having been CEO of Hewlett Packard, a company that she essentially ran into the ground. I kind of want to hear what she has to say. It's like,
Yes. Tell us how to bankrupt our country further, please.
yes. I mean, it's like
Yes,
we
please.
have all these ideas.
We're not doing a bad enough job as it is.
But no, like last night, what really got to me, apparently I missed this in the children's debate. Mike Huckabee, which God only knows why this man is still even around. Like he's actually doing worse than Jeb Bush, and Jeb Bush is still somehow in the top percentages.
I think Huckabee is the most enraging Republican candidate to me.
No, He's not. Oh, sorry. I was already saying that before you said to me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know so little about these things. I have very little to contribute because I'll be like, I like that Huckabee when he was running wasn't throwing smear ads at the other guys, or at least that's what I heard. So somebody's like, no, that's not true because and that's a bad way to base your opinions on. I mean, it's not completely
Well, see,
bad,
like,
but, like I think I like Ben Carson, but I haven't really heard Ben Carson say anything.
he
So
never does. He never does.
that is a premature statement.
And the things he does says are just incredibly out of left field.
See, I would actually like
I at
Ben
least
Carson.
think that he's a neat guy, neurosurgeon, stuff like that.
I would actually like Ben Carson if he didn't open his mouth. You know, because for as smart as this man is, he says some dumb things. The pyramids were used for grain storage. Is that why they're not hollow? Is that why there isn't an opening at the top of them? Is like, well, in the Bible, when a certain, I don't remember who it was, I've forgotten already, but he's like, well, someone went to Egypt and counted all the grain. They had to have some place to keep it. Okay, sure. How about the grain storage places where it even mentions they kept it? They didn't keep it in the pyramids. I mean, why
The
are there dead
pyramids are
bodies
generally used
in the
for
pyramid?
pharaohs. The downside is of this isn't really to defend him. It's just to make the point that it is for everyone. When you're in the political arena, everything you say is under scrutiny. I mean, if we were under that much scrutiny, people would just tear us apart. You know what I mean? I heard Jessica Dallas say, and I heard Nick say, and then there's going to be like that secret conversation where one of us said to the other in private, that guy's an idiot, and then it gets like turned into, oh, so-and-so said that guy's an idiot, and that guy happens to be, black or something like that. That means that this guy's racist, and, like everything is so, it lacks integrity.
It's hard
but
to call
it
people
also,
idiots
it's so
anymore.
it's so quick to jab at anybody that forget to even ask the questions about what it's about. And not saying that no one deserves jabbed. I'm just saying that it's so. It's like having a
People
dog
have
fight.
just become
Throwing in a bunch of rabid dogs, and whoever has the most blood in the end wins.
people have just become so polarized that they'll ignore anything that goes against whatever it is they think they believe in.
Yes, I'm not listening. La 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 la. You're this or you're that or you're just trying to do whatever. There are some people who sound pretty cool. I can't remember their names. I think Rand Paul sounded kind of neat at one point, and Jeb Bush didn't sound like a complete idiot in one thing that I heard him. But I do think there should probably be some rule at some point where
Jeb Bush confuses
where
me
families
too.
that have been president 2 times
Wasn't he supposed to be the smarter
don't do it
Bush?
anymore.
Yes, he actually is supposed to be smarter Bush. And what bothers me about Jeb is that he, oh god, okay, he talks about how we have an entitlement culture in the country right now. Like young people are they're just so entitled, because they feel like they deserve everything handed to them. And I'm like, you're running an entitlement campaign. Your daddy was president. Your brother was president. You think that you ought to be president just because of them. You're like, well, and you listen to what he says. He's like, well, my brother kept us safe on 9/11. No, on 9/11, 3,000 people died because your brother ignored a memo that he got 2 weeks in advance that told him what was going to happen. Your brother did not keep us safe. He kept us safe after it because he went to a war. He went to war in 2 different countries over resources where we didn't really need the resources, but we went after them anyway. So no, you're lying to us directly, and you're bitching about how someone, is feels entitled to something. But like I said, you're running that campaign. That's why he wants to be president. And this is a man who said he doesn't even know why he should be president. He doesn't even want to be president, but he's doing it anyway because he feels entitled to do it. Nearly everyone on his staff has quit, and day before yesterday, his super PAC shut down. He has no one funding him. He has no one on his campaign, and yet he is still
Like Ross
in the
Perot,
running.
just paying for himself.
Yes, essentially,
you
yeah.
see that. This is part of the problem, I think. Okay? Everyone who's been president for the last 20 years, more than that, has been a millionaire or billionaire. So what happens when you have so much money that you don't need to work and you could live on an island sipping margaritas? You decide that you should control other people's lives. I'm not saying that no one wants to make America better or improve Americans' lives, but, like, think about it. Ordinary folk don't become president. It was kind of the idea that they would. But, no. Millionaires and people who have so much money, like Donald Trump, who could just sit on an island and probably would be better to do so, you know, and sip margaritas and stay out of everybody's business.
Which is exactly why I like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has got, I think his estimated net worth is maybe $100,000, maybe. I mean, he's worked for 40 years in politics. He has never taken a pay raise. Well, he may have, I don't know, but he's one of those working class individuals. You can look at the man and realize, yeah, he buys his shirts from Walmart. You know, he's not someone who's like Donald Trump, but like, I have my own tie line and my own suits, which, you know, are made by essentially by slave laborers in Indonesia. But I'm not going to tell you that, you know, like, I'm going to just conveniently remove that tie, that little thing on the tie that says it was made there, but the website still says it. I'm like, he didn't wear French cuts, he didn't wear Armani suits, you know, like Bernie Sanders, like I said, gets his clothes from Walmart and J.C. Penney's, and he's fine. I would vote for him because he's a common individual. Not to mention,
And
I'm
sometimes they'll
sorry.
be like, well, so-and-so was, you know, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton were average, ordinary people at one point in time. And most of these people got, it seems, I'm not going to say this is fact, but it seems like most of these people just got rich by going up the political ladder or something, which is kind of odd because becoming governor doesn't actually come with a very good pay.
It is
How
not,
do these people become millionaires?
I really would like to know how exactly these people are so rich. Because, yeah, governor pay, even the president's pay is not that great. It's what, $200,000, I think?
$400 some odd $1,000 a year. Now, see, here's where it gets interesting. Here's where it gets very, very interesting. Donald Trump, one of the most wealthy individuals in the United States, last night said that he would be willing to quit his job, you know, running his company, to be president. Donald Trump makes about $5 million a year, give or take. I mean, actually, it's more like a day.
I probably wouldn't do it, but I kind of feel like saying if Donald Trump became president, I'd leave the country.
A lot of people would. Like, I have jokingly said I would
I'm
kill
moving
myself
to Texas, and we're
to get away from it.
That's just it.
Like I said, I have jokingly said I would commit suicide, just because I would not feel welcome enough in any other country to move there. And someone says, "Aren't you from America?" Yes. You know, like, I feel like I would just have to not be here. And then I kind of now I'm not going to do it. Don't worry. But I did say to a friend of mine the other day that if Donald Trump gets on the ticket and Hillary is on the ticket, I will vote for Donald Trump just because I want to see how long it takes for him to burn the country to the ground.
That's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. Please don't do that.
And see, the thing is, the guy I was talking to is a Democrat, and he's like, "You wouldn't vote for Hillary?" And I'm like, "No, it's essentially the same thing. I could just kind of flip a coin and it be two-sided. But I would vote for Trump because I just want to know, like, how soon will the
More
race war start
curiosity.
if Trump gets elected?
because you're like, both of these people are going to destroy the country. But I'm curious to see how this person would do it.
Yeah,
See, my thing is that I don't think that Hillary will destroy the
19
country
days. Wow.
nearly as much
Better than I expected.
as Trump will.
see,
If Trump gets elected, I'm predicting like apocalyptic levels of destruction.
yes, and see, the thing is, I want to be around for this. I want see. Okay. Apparently, for at least 2 generations now, there has been this idea that we're going to have a race war in the United States, and it's always going to be the blacks versus the whites. Okay, you can, I, I guess if you want to call the problems with the police and the black community going on right now a race war, that's fine. But no, what I think we're going to have is the Mexicans versus everybody else when Trump gets elected, and I kind of want to see, like a giant Mexican. You see, I live in Texas, and we used to have a Mexican army here. They used to march up and down everywhere. I kind of want to see that. Like, I want to see all these people, just stand up. It's sort of like, lighting the fires and calling, and Gondor calling for aid. Like everybody just stands up at the same time. They're like, no, we don't like the president. So you had this massive actual race war, and it'll be beautiful because I I really want to know who's going to back Trump. I really genuinely do want to know who will back up Donald Trump.
An interesting thing that never gets talked about anymore, ever, and used to be such the big point, is when are our soldiers coming home? Or are we just going to indefinitely stay at war? Like, is everyone just content to indefinitely stay at war?
I mean,
some things need fought.
we kind of have to indefinitely stay at war, honestly, because of the stupidity of going to that war in the first place. It's a sad fate.
But the idea of, being over there and keeping them distracted over there instead of coming over here is financially bleeding the nation dry. Think about it.
It's a horrible plan.
I graduated
It's absolutely a horrible plan.
2 years after 9/11, or maybe 3 years. Graduated in 2002 from high school. We've been at war since then.
Yeah.
That's a long time. If you consider who's paying for these wars.
The taxpayers?
Yeah, no.
And you can say, it's all Bush's fault, and Bush has his blame, But it's been another 8 years almost.
See, the problem is that the war he started is something you simply cannot win.
That's right. Russia failed conquering the Middle East. You can't conquer the Middle East.
I mean, you can, but you would have to basically start a dictatorship and rule it for forever.
Yeah.
That's basically what we got ourselves into. And it's just, it was such a bad plan. Everything about it was wrong.
Really old-fashioned. I like the pre-World War II mentality of, if you guys want to kill each other over there, fine. Now, if one of these are my allies, I'm going to kick your butt. And if a world dictator shows up and starts conquering everything, call me. In the meantime, I'm not going to be the world's police force. I'm going to focus on problems over here. And we can be friends if you want, but I'm not going to make you.
Well, they even... okay.
This
First
has
of
its
all...
own weaknesses, I know, but...
First of all, going over there was... going into Iraq was probably one of the dumbest things that anyone could possibly do.
I think Saddam Hussein needed removed, but there's the whole rebuilding them.
I'd say it was
how
worse than Vietnam.
many war games have you played?
It was worse than
Halo
Vietnam.
or whatever. You conquer the Covenant, you conquer, Germany or whatever in this war game, Star Wars Battlefront, and then you say, hey, everybody, let's rebuild them.
Well, here's the problem. We never rebuilt anything once we conquered it. We went there, we sat there, we blew everything up, and then we were like, hey, you're free. Congratulations.
Well, he did spend a lot of time trying to rebuild the electrical infrastructure and things like that, at least early on. I don't know about
No,
now.
no, no. Everything we tried to rebuild was just like a half-ass job. And then it was just
Probably.
like, and here's why ISIS is so successful. Because they built schools and hospitals and infrastructure. And for some reason, we've forgotten the value of building infrastructure.
Well, see, like, okay, the problem when you bring in ISIS into this is, and this is something that evidently everyone on the stage last night overlooked for some reason. They're like, well, we're gonna go over there, we're gonna bomb them, and we're gonna bomb them more. Like, okay, we're doing it right now. Oh, well, no, the president's weak. The president's not bombing them. So Russia's having to step up. Like, are you kidding me? The United States it is bombing them more than anybody else has. We have launched something like 100,000 airstrikes at this point in time. We're bombing them every day, every day. Like there's no if and or buts here. Now we're not bombing them like we were Germany during World War II, which was like one bombing run every 10 seconds or so, which is insane. But we are actually bombing the ever loving shit out of the Middle East right now, trying to kill people. And they're having to beg and plead people to come and help them. Okay? They talk about this in their publication. It's called The Beak. If you want to find it, you can find it online. It's a nice magazine, glossy print, beautiful articles, lots of writing. It's just every other word is God commands me to kill you, and God commands you to kill these people. Like every other thing is like that. Okay, it's fine. Other than that, um, it's kind of like
Other than
Playboy.
that, it's a really nice magazine, and you should subscribe.
Yeah, like it's kind of like Playboy. Well, you probably used to be, because now they don't do it anymore. But like you read it for the articles, but then you have to look at the nudity. Like it's that comparison. No offense to Playboy, wonderful magazine, good articles, beautiful people in there, whatever. Playboy. I think I just called Playboy a terrorist group. Anyway, uh, um, that was not my intention. Hugh Hefner, I am
That's a bit
sorry.
awkward.
Yeah, but anyway, like Dabiq puts all this stuff in there, okay, and they have to beg doctors and people to come help them. Like they're always asking for it, and they're like, well, if you come, we'll be able to establish an economy and we'll be able to put you to work because we're actually running out of like all the money they got from the banks in Iraq a couple years ago. They've almost completely spent it. Like they're having to get essentially, like Craigslist deals to get vehicles and guns and everything. Like they're having to sell things off to get things, and it's kind of like it's interesting to look at it because like with Cobra from GI Joe, no one looks at Cobra as being a functional organization, but in reality, when you stop and think about it, they would have had to be. I mean, like, we're talking about people like like for example, Al Qaeda. Their emails have been leaked because people caught whether got a hold of their computers and whatnot. So they were able to find emails and actual like reports on taxes they collected and payments that were made and how much debt they owe. Like it's crazy to think about this, but these people are trying to essentially build a nation and they're fighting for it, and it's weird, because we look at them, we think, well, they're just terrorists, they're crazy people who, who are doing things by having to steal it. Like, and the reason I bring up Cobra is important. How much money did Cobra have to build all these big cool toys they fought GI Joe with? On a lot. They had to have a lot of money. They would have had to have a lot of money, and
That was Destro's job.
yeah, it was. Like they had specific people that you see in the cartoon who are there to get money for Cobra to function, and that's what ISIS has to do. They have to do
Like
the
some of
same
your
thing.
telemarketers that hang up when you answer, it's
Probably.
actually Cobra. Every time you answer, you involuntarily send them $1.
And but like it's weird to think about that if people are trying to build a functioning country at the same time, and when you look at it from their perspective, oddly enough, it kind of makes sense. It's like, look, we have all these wounded, we have all these sick. You know, we're trying. We need you to be nice to us for 5 seconds. You know, just please stop this person's bleeding. I realize, you know, yesterday we blew up your house and you know we killed your dad or your kids, whatever. But please, this person's bleeding. It's weird and it humanizes them, but you know, but like listening to people that were on stage last night, they don't get that. They're like, we're just gonna bomb them. And I'm like, the president's already bombing them. What more do you want? You're having to find an ideology, and your response to
Bombs
this
don't
is
work
to
all that
turn
well,
into
though.
glass.
I,
Or,
I'm it's about been a year, but I was watching History of the Underground, and they went to like North Korea. No, not North Korea. Vietnam. Vietnam, and some of those bunkers that the Vietnamese dug into the clay are still there to this day. They could survive bunker busters, and you know, like obviously our bombs have improved since Vietnam, but there are certain factors about things that don't change. Vibrations being, you know, sent through the soils that can endure bombing. Like, they blow stuff up. There's no doubt about that. But if things are deep enough underground and it's the right type of soil, you'll be fine. And when you're desperate and you've got nothing else to do, you dig. That's something that war has shown us throughout the ages.
Yep.
World War II, people dug. World War I, people dug. Vietnam, Vietnamese didn't have bombs, so they dug, and it worked.
it does, and like it's weird, you know, to listen to this plan of like, well, like I said, we're supposed to bomb them all the time. We are like we're actually running out of munitions to drop on them because we've been bombing them so much, and we're supposed to bomb them more. And I'm like, do you not realize what you're saying? You're like,
And there are
essentially
certain
saying,
groups that even if we left them alone, they would still bother us because it's their ideology.
well, see, like the weird
Some of
thing
it, I'm
is,
sure, that we just make
Oh,
worse.
well, no. See, the problem is, uh, i okay, you went in and we invaded, right? Sure. Okay. That was probably not a great idea. Okay, we did it. Okay. Now here's the problem. If you want to change the ideology and thinking and all that jazz, then you actually have to, you know, build and support that and, you know, show them that there's a better way to live than trying to just blow us up.
That does go very badly for the United States, though. A lot of, like, we put Saddam Hussein in power. We put Castro in power. No, not Castro.
Yeah.
Somebody else. Anyway, American
Also,
history is full
our
of
judgment of people seems to be very poor.
endorsing. Yeah, we're not too good at it. But this is probably because we just have wealthy billionaires with too much time on their hands making these decisions.
Our judgment of what a good leader is seems to also be very, very bad.
It's true. If they're popular on television, they must be good. Or if they fit my ideology, they must be good. Or, I don't know. Like, voting, I probably lean Republican, but I feel like it's a bad idea to just pick one side and run with it without looking at everything. Because, you know, and villainize care about people.
See,
You know?
to me,
And people who are Republicans care about the nation and people, and both of them care about the nation. I'm not trying to say one's better than the other, but I'm saying they just get different ways of doing it.
to me, there's obviously a major problem if people that say they're Republicans or lean in Republican ways are so disgusted with every single candidate there is that they're just like, I'm just gonna vote for Bernie.
Yeah,
there is a problem.
I mostly try to stay out of the political stuff because it drives me insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Mitt Romney's dog on top of the car in a carrier, and their dog liked being up there. And it's like, come on, you're so desperate to throw pot shots, you'll just throw anything without even going. It doesn't really have any value. There were other things about it.
It's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah. Throw everything and the kitchen sink at them, regardless of whether it's valid or not. I heard there was a guy who was running for president last time, and there was some kind of affair that came out, and so he had to drop out of the race or something like that. And that was probably good. I want somebody with integrity. But he wanted to do some reforms of Social Security. Oh, my goodness. I actually heard the guy talk, and I was like, this guy's right. Social Security is not functioning so well, and it's not going to continue functioning unless we do, some upgrades. Well, the news was like, so-and-so wants your grandmother to starve and live off church food banks. Like, the man did not say that, and you know it.
Well, see, okay, Social Security was actually brought up again. It's brought up all the time, in fact. And every one of the candidates is like, well, we're going to fix Social Security. Okay, how are you going to do that? Well, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. I'm like, okay. So, okay, for starters, let's take a step back here. You're against socialist programs in America, right? Yes, socialism is bad. Like, okay, Social Security, for one, is a socialist program. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. For two, are you in favor of raising taxes? No, no one should have to pay taxes. Okay, well, Social Security, the socialist program, Social Security, is funded by taxes. Oh, well,
Right.
I don't know. Okay, so what you need to do
Look,
is...
in the end days of Rome, the people screamed for bread, and so Caesar would have free bread days and free carnivals and free, just to keep the people happy. But they didn't tax the people anymore. We can only fight so many wars, have so many programs, and add more programs until something goes wrong. You can only stack house of cards so high.
Well, see,
Well,
like,
the weirder thing is when people want to not only stack the cards, but take away cards at the same time.
Yeah, and start building a reverse house on top of it, where it goes.
Yes.
which is what they're wanting to do. And like, what I was going to say is, to solve the Social Security problem, you need to put people back to work, okay? And not
Well,
only...
actually, no. Hold on. Yeah. To solve the Social Security problem, you need to turn the clock back about, 40 years and indict Reagan for stealing all that money.
Yeah, that's
what you need to do.
But I mean, like, okay,
I'm sorry.
okay,
But whenever someone talks about Social Security, I start raging because I think of Reagan.
okay, but see, but since we don't have a time machine there, Doc Brown, what we need to do is put people back to work, okay? And
Or you could just lock up the money like it's supposed to be in the first place.
you could, or
Well, at
or
this point,
or
it's a lot of IOUs to China.
you could,
Actually,
or
most of our IOUs are to ourselves, which is
which is
weird.
true.
That's true.
Now you could, or, and I'm listening to, I'm Bernie Sanders, and this is my horrible impersonation, and like I'm just start channeling Bernie here, okay? Hopefully without doing the Jewish salesman hand and Manhattan accent, okay? Because I do it very badly. What you need to do is you need to put people back to work. Now, to put them back to work, you have to give them an incentive to go to work. The best incentive you can possibly offer someone with a job is money. So, what we need to do is we need to raise the minimum wage, and everything else will adjust accordingly because that's how our economy works. So you raise the minimum wage, more people are therefore able to go back to work and get a job and make money. What did those people who have money do? They're going to spend it on things, right? Right. They're going to buy cars, they're going to buy toys, they're going to buy food and clothes and everything else. So what do you do with that? Well, you tax that. You tax what they're doing. So that works out because you're going to have more money being spent by more people buying more things. So there's more taxes able to be collected. And where does that go? Well, that goes to the government. So we can fund the government and we can fund programs like Social Security instead of doing what the Republicans are doing. And they were cheering last night. This pissed me off so much. I'm trying not to cuss, Brandon. I'm trying. I'm sorry. I really want to say words right now. But it made me so very
I
angry
can
last
handle
night.
words, just for the record.
Because I'm. What's that?
I can handle words, just for the record.
Oh, well, okay. Still, I'm gonna do this without cussing. I'm gonna try to, okay? It made me. Oh! It made me. Oh. Nick has heard me rant, and he knows I like to get, kind of fruity language in what I say. But anyway, um, I believe it was Marco Rubio. I don't remember. Anyway, whoever it was, said something about how it might have even been Kasich. Anyway, about how it is that America's doing so well right now because we were able to get off of our dependency of foreign oil, and the Republicans are leading the fight to get back on, to get back to fossil fuels and everything, so we can put our oil field workers back to work. And I'm like, you're the assholes who blocked the pipeline. It was your party that was against it. But oh no, that was the president. No, 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 no. That was Congress and Senate. That was both houses voted to block this. Okay, it wasn't just the president. Okay, you voted to block it, and then you put it back in, and then you screwed around when it came to the omnibus, which was to fund the government, because Mitch McConnell was not getting enough money off of his oil interest. And meanwhile, Obama vetoed the whole damn thing. Okay, that pipeline, by the way, would not have actually would not have added jobs for Americans. It was a Canadian corporation. It would have added jobs for Canadians. Canadians would have come here and had to rent homes and everything while the pipeline's being installed. It wouldn't have helped Americans. But we're so intent on getting Americans back on oil that we're just going to start buying it from Saudi Arabia. And this is where I start to get angry here. Uh, Saudi Arabia actually gave most of the hijackers on 9/11. We flew the family of Osama bin Laden home after this because President Bush had made deals with the bin Laden family over oil. Okay, now let's fast forward a few years. Here it is, and now we're going to try and get Americans back on oil. We're going to put all of our oil workers back in. We're going to put all these all these offshore rigs and everything, but yet they're continually voted against. And when you look at who's voting against them, it's not always Democrats doing it. It's Republicans, and they're doing it because they're not getting the money they're supposed to get on these certain deals, so they're voting against these things. Okay, and these people that are Republicans are running for president right now, and they're so proud of how it is they have lowered the price of gas. Through all their deals. Always putting Americans back to work, and I'm like, you stupid, stupid people. Every time the price of gas drops, that's people out of work. That is putting
It's
someone
true. I
out of
kind
a
of used to
job.
be in the
I
oil
have a
industry.
lot of friends who work in the oil industry. A lot of friends who do. And some of them were hurting for several months because they were laid off just so that Americans could have cheaper gas. Okay? You can't do that. You
Wait, wait,
can't do
wait.
that.
They do realize that they have nothing to do with the price of gas being cheaper right now, right? That it's actually a
No, they don't. They don't.
strategy
That's the thing.
by Saudi
They don't.
Arabia
That,
and to drive Americans out of the oil industry, right?
see, that's the thing.
They
They don't
realize that,
realize it.
right?
But they're just so proud that they have been able to lower the price of gas. And like I said, that for every cent that goes down, that's probably 100 people out of work. Probably, and I say probably because I don't really know, what the correlation is, but it's costing someone a job, and
So
it's sort of like how Walmart announced today they're going to close 269 stores. Those 269 stores that you're closing because they're not making sales or at least that you think they're not making sales, or they're not making sales to be competitive, despite the fact that you're the number one earning corporation in the entire world, other than maybe Coca-Cola, and you can probably afford, to lose a little money here. You're going to close stores and you're going to put 16,000 people out of work, but you're so proud. You're so proud of being an American corporation. You're so proud that you have a 35% rate of your employees who go into management. You're so damn proud of this, but you're going to put 16,000 people out of work with no other option here. It's like, no. And see, here's the thing. Walmart, I hate Walmart. I hate Walmart, and I hate Hillary Clinton because she was on the board of directors for Walmart several years ago, and it makes me so angry thinking about it. But Walmart has continually, at least the past 3 or 4 years, screwed over their employees intentionally. When Obamacare was legalized, Walmart said, nope, not going to do this. We're going to cut all our hourly employees back to 29 hours because the minimum that you have to make to qualify for it, to where your company has to pay for health care, is 30 hours. You have to have 30 hours a week
They watch
in order
that
to qualify for government.
meticulously. You get fired if you go over.
Yes.
But I'm
yes.
going to interrupt you because I tried to interrupt you earlier. You're missing one problem about you could raise the minimum wage, but without jobs for people to do and to have. You see, we've shipped our industry overseas. We've devalued our industry. We've, also gotten greedy as a people. I remember reading an article several years ago, and it's like workers at Ford Motor Company in Michigan, something or other, say that $40 an hour is too low for them to make a living on, and it's like $40 an hour? You can't make a living on $40 an hour? What the heck, man? I could make a living off $10 an hour if I had it.
But see, the thing with minimum wage is that would be an incentive to get people to go to work. Now, see, I know.
Sure, but we need jobs first.
Well,
you do.
Here's a really interesting thing about minimum wage.
Jobs and Walmart jobs. We need jobs where we actually produce something.
Wait, hold on. Here's a really interesting thing about minimum wage. A lot of people that would be making minimum wage are working 2 to 3 different jobs.
It's true.
For 60 to 80 hours. If they were only working 40 hours, well, guess what would happen if they could only work 40 hours? There would actually be a lot more jobs. Which is something you don't really consider or think about.
Right.
But there actually would be a lot more jobs because you'd be cutting back on what people would have to work. You would essentially be creating a whole lot of jobs.
It would be. And see, like the thing is, particularly about Walmart, they have cut it back, like I said, to 29 hours, just to avoid having to buy into a healthcare program for their employees. Walmart in like 2014.
I've been told by my grandmother that raising the minimum wage works, and she's a lot smarter than me because she's been around a long time. But I do remember when I was working at the grocery store and they raised minimum wage, and before the minimum wage took effect, all of the cheap food, the 39-cent vegetables, went up to like 49 cents. I was the guy changing the prices, and I was like, dude, this is the food I buy. This is the only food I can afford, and it's going up. And the minimum wage hasn't even gone up.
It goes up because the cost of living goes up.
3 months. They're raising the food that I eat. So nobody actually loses.
It goes up because the cost of living goes up. And because the cost, here's the thing. The cost of living is so high right now that the last time you could actually make a living on minimum wage was like 1978. Some very smart person figured this out.
Now, is that a single individual person or 2 people?
Just for a single individual person.
Single individual person, not taking care. Like we're talking about the actual stereotype of it being a dumb teenager.
Single individual person How well did they do before that?
Pretty good.
I don't know. I'm asking this because sometimes I read things that don't make much sense. I'm not saying you're out in left field, but I one time read this thing and it was like, well, a single parent after they pay for child care and all this and they can't make it. And I thought to myself, when in human history have single parents made bank? I'm not like trying to slam single parents. I'm just saying like let's think about this. When in history did that even make sense? So we're saying this should work, but can you say when it used to?
Here's the thing. If
you
are a
single
parent
throughout my family, my dad was raised by his mom after his dad ditched, and she had to work really hard to make ends meet, and sometimes ends didn't get met. So to say now, oh no, it's like no, that's never been the case.
The thing about minimum wages, it shouldn't let you be able to get, a sports car or the nicest place in the world or, all the action figures you could possibly want, even though that would be nice.
What are you trying to say, Nick?
I'm saying I'm saying I want money so I can buy your action figures. But the thing that you should be able to buy is you should be able to have a place, whether that's just an apartment or a small house. You should be able to have food, a form of transportation, clothes, just the basic necessities.
Yeah.
And maybe by today's standards, you could say a cell phone is almost a necessity now, depending on where you live and the environment you're in. But,
yeah.
I mean, the minimum wage isn't anywhere close to where that's capable or possible.
No, like I'm saying,
I agree. It could go up. I'm just saying, I want people to make reasonable arguments like you are when they're talking about it instead of unreasonable.
Oh yeah, I mean, saying you should be able to afford a fancy computer or just whatever, that's completely unreasonable.
Like I was saying, the last time it was possible, to be essentially the stereotypical dumb teenager, who flips burgers. The last time you could do that minimum wage and survive was in the late 70s. I mean, but inflation is so high now that whatever, like 7.25, whatever it is now, like minimum wage in the 60s was probably about $5, whatever it was, and that $5 was actually worth more then than $5 is now. And Brandon, you can relate to this because, like you buy and sell action figures, okay? 10 years ago, when all of us, were high school age, like an action figure we could buy now, like one of your Gundam figures may have been $5 at most. But now that same thing is probably closer to 10, and that's because inflation has gone up. Because people are like, oh, well, if people are making more money, we can charge higher figures. But then you have to start losing sales, like Hasbro has done, because people can't buy their shit because they don't have the money to buy it because they're out of work.
And then when we do, we regret it. Oh, I bought Poe Dameron, and he only came in this special armor pack. Dude only has 5 points of articulation, and he comes with a cheesy piece of armor. Okay, the armor looked cool, but it doesn't do anything. So I paid $5 extra for that.
You mean the one you reviewed the other day?
Yeah.
That armor piece is actually a piece to a droid. It's like a murder death bot, and there's pieces. There are different figures in. I actually found this out after that, and I've been meaning to tell you about this. But there's different figures in the first wave that you buy, and you're able to combine the extra bits into a droid. A stupid droid that does nothing.
Well, I got Finn, and he came with a piece for a droid. But this Poe Dameron didn't say anything about it being a piece of that droid.
I may be thinking of
No,
your
I
Fiend
don't.
review. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But there's different figures that have little pieces of it's a stupid like it's a little brown and tan and yellowish droid, and I think one piece has got like a sword or something. It's weird. I kind of wonder, what is this droid for? Is this like a murder bot? Because all the like it's all the weapons. Like there's little tire track, well, I mean treads, and there's like an engine,
Yeah, that's
and
the
then
piece
there's
that I
like two
have.
swords, and I'm like, what are we building here? Are we building a murder bot?
I have us destroyed.
Are they the murder bots that have been killing all the people we love lately?
I I oh God, I don't know what's going on. Like I really don't, because there's been a lot of people lately to die, and they all seem to be around 69 years old, and I'm like, you know who else is
Pretty
69?
pretty,
Donald
I
Trump.
guess.
Are you saying he's going to die? Because
I'm so,
I
I'm saying that if death is knocking on
Tonight on
people who
American Debate, one of these contestants will die. Who
whoa,
will
you
be?
just activated the dystopian future that we've all read about for years. I kind of want that to happen now.
I'm I'm just saying, like you know if death is walking around knocking on the door of everyone who's 69 years old, he's 69. You have like 6 more months before he's 70. I mean, you're good. You're good. Go on, death. It's fine. I kind of wonder who would miss him. I really like. I genuinely want to know who would miss Donald Trump, other than the Ku Klux Klan. Like other than those people, who would miss him? And See, you think I'm joking? I'm not. He actually has the
No,
backing of the
that's
Klan.
why I laughed, because you're probably right.
Yep,
The
they
the
support him.
Yeah, like David Duke, the former leader of the Klan, is like, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump says, but he's the best one you have. Like he has the endorsement of the Ku Klux Klan. Like all these racist organizations are like, we kind of like Trump. We like him a lot. You should vote for him. Like, no, I don't want to do that. No,
I knew you were dropped on your head, child.
but it's scary. But yeah, like we're actually getting close to the point in time where we need to end the show, and we have not even gotten to our main topic. So,
I wanted to take it to the main topic, but I decided that since I'm the guest, that would be kind of rude. And you were having so much fun talking about politics.
it's fine. Like
Just couldn't break it.
you are always more than welcome to come back. We can talk about it again. But before we go, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge, oh, not all the people who have died, because there's apparently a lot more that are gone. But I just want to take a moment, to kind of mention, that we have lost in the past week David Bowie. Yesterday we lost. Yesterday we lost Alan Rickman. Uh, and we also lost what was his name? I can't remember his name. It was the guy that voiced Robin Hood in the 1960s Disney movie. The
Which
animated
is
one. He
the
passed away.
best.
This morning we lost.
Oh, Brian Bedford.
Yeah, Brian Bedford, and I'm supposed to look up this name. Uh, Dan something. Anyway, he played Grizzly Adams. He died this morning, and there was evidently some adult film star who committed suicide last night or yesterday. She was 34. Uh, and then there was the husband of Celine Dion died of like it's a weird thing. All these people are British. For the most part, they're British, and they're all dying of cancer. Like Brian Bedford and Alan Rickman and David Bowie are all British, and they're all around the same age. They've all died of cancer. It's like, oh, fuck you, cancer. Quit taking people that are awesome.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's so many cool people just gone.
Like
Cancer's overly common.
this this year just kind of sucks for that. So like what I want to do is just in case anyone else is going to die or has died and we haven't found about it, I want to just put up a black screen for a second and like we just pause here for a minute and just take a moment to think about how people that are important to you might not be here at some point in time. So just take a few moments and think about that. Okay, now we've all had a moment of silence. Yes, like I said, this is getting kind of close to the point in time we need to end the show. So Brandon, you're welcome back. Anytime you want to come back. So just let me
That's
know or
great.
let Nick know.
Just a cool thing I want to share. The other day, I had some company send me an email, and they're like, "Yeah, we want to send you a free product and have you review it." And I was like, well, "That's weird. That's cool." So it's
That's
getting
pretty
like
cool.
a emoticon pillow of a smiling poo.
Hmm.
Like
That's
it's poop, but it's a
interesting.
pillow and it's smiling. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be an interesting review. So my wife's gonna hate me because there were others that she liked more, and she thought that one was gross. She doesn't know that's what I picked. Oh
Is it
well.
is it a paid review?
I get the item for free, and I get to review it.
Hmm.
So not really paid.
No, but then I can do whatever I want with it. Throw poo at people, use it as a crappy toy mascot. I don't know.
Well, see,
Today's
like
crappy toy review is lift up the thing and show the toy from the dollar store.
like uh the cool thing is you're getting people reaching out to you wanting you to review their things and that's awesome. A lot of other toy reviewers uh Balt, like for example Balt Matrix, PL and Alcobotamus, they're now making quite a bit of money because well I probably shouldn't mention it, but they do paid reviews for people like they people will send them stuff to review and they do it and it's one of the secrets of YouTube. If you get an audience large enough and you do reviews or you talk about certain things. Hint, hint, everybody listening, we like talking about movies and cartoons and toys and stuff on here. Hint, hint. Um, uh, if you get an audience large enough, you can be reached out to, and people will actually pay you money for reviewing their things, and that's awesome.
I'd sell just for free stuff, you know? Just send me toys. I'll review them. Tell people where to get them. It's all good.
Yeah, we will totally do it for free.
Nick
Just
will.
just
I'll do
send
it
it.
for like a nickel. I'll do yeah. I'll do. I'll
Yeah.
review your thing for a nickel.
You
How's
know how
that?
cool it would be to get something in the mail every month, and your job is to review it? That'd be awesome.
That would it'd be pretty nice.
Because right now I buy all the toys I review, and I'm posting a new video every day. So it's usually a review. Sometimes it's something more random. Still working on my stop motions. Those just take time. So posting a new video every day requires material.
It does. It really does. There's another reviewer, TJ Omega. He tries to post something every day, and he reviews a lot of Transformers and a lot of Power Ranger toys. Oh yeah, by the way, that was going to be our topic today. For those of you wondering, uh,
Transformers and Power
why
Rangers.
we had Brandon, we're actually going to discuss Power Rangers. Like, so we're going to have you back and talk about that at some point in time
Woo!
because we have just, thanks to Nick, completely gone off of track here.
It was absolutely Nick's fault and not Jonathan's fault at all.
Right.
It never is.
but before we go, I just wanted to thank Jonathan for admitting that I was right on the last show, and that the new Star Wars movie, is better than even the originals.
I didn't say
It
it
was
was.
pretty good.
You know you did. It's fine. It's
No,
fine.
no. I have not
Yeah,
outright.
the
No,
show's ending now.
no, sir, no, sir, no,
Goodbye,
sir.
everyone.
At
I
no
hope you
point,
Bye,
have
at no
everyone.
point in time,
Goodbye.
at no point in
goodbye.
time have
Thank
I
you,
said it was better.
Josh, for coming on the show. It was a lot of fun having you. And yeah, goodbye, everybody.
Talk to all of you Monday. Bye.